The Rose Bowl didn't just witness a victory, it was an absolute display of power by PSG at the Club World Cup. A resounding message sent from the European champions. Luis Enrique's Paris Saint-Germain isn't just here to win titles. They're here to forge an entirely new football philosophy, a style of play that can suffocate any defensive system, turning opponents into helpless puppets. We saw it less than a month ago when Inter Milan, once dubbed the most formidable defensive wall in this season's Champions League, was mercilessly torn apart in a 5-0 thrashing. That wasn't an accident, it was a warning. And in Pasadena, that scenario repeated itself even more impressively. Facing a resilient Atletico Madrid, led by the tenacious Diego Simeone, a team renowned for its tight defensive counter-attacking style and steely resolve, PSG proved they are on an entirely different level. In just the third minute, Julian Alvarez curled a free kick agonizingly wide, a moment that seemed to promise a balanced match. But that was all Atletico could muster. From the 10th minute onwards, Luis Enrique's machine roared to life. The ball flowed seamlessly from Hakimi, Pacho, then through the midfield with Fabian Ruiz, Vitinha, and Neves. They weren't rushed. They lulled their opponents with 5-6 safe passes, then suddenly accelerated when space emerged. This is the control tide PSG created. In the 19th minute, Fabian Ruiz unleashed a thunderous shot, opening the scoring. The more than 80,000-strong crowd erupted. A legendary defensive wall had cracked. But that was just the beginning. Atletico Madrid still tried to rally, still tried to play their counter-attacking game, but PSG's response was even more ruthless. A textbook transition. Hakimi cleared, and Neves played a quick pass. Vitinha confidently broke the offside trap, then curled the ball past Jan Oblak. It was 2-0 before halftime, a devastating blow to Atletico's morale. Early in the second half, Kvaratskhelia almost made it 3-0 with a curling shot that hit the crossbar. The next few minutes were the only time Atletico thought they could fight back. In the 57th minute, Julian Alvarez fired into Donnarumma's net, but VAR intervened. Replays showed Koke had fouled earlier. The goal was disallowed, and once again, Atletico's hope was snatched away. The third goal came in the 87th minute when Seni Mayolu capitalized on a scramble to finish inside the box. A few minutes later, Ibrahim Mbaye hit the post, and then VAR called the referee for a penalty to PSG after Robin Lenormand handled the ball. Lee Kang-in sealed a humiliating night for Atletico with an unstoppable penalty kick. Final score, 4-0. This is the second consecutive time PSG has humiliated a renowned defensive wall in just 1 month. A team that won the Champions League with a style of overwhelming control and intelligent pressing now brings that exact formula to the Club World Cup without changing a single detail. Luis Enrique calmly stated, "Perhaps the scoreline was a bit wide, but we deserved to win. It's time we shed the old misconception that PSG wins because of an expensive attack." Because in the match against Atletico Madrid at the Rose Bowl, they practically played without a true central striker. Gonzalo Ramos was on the pitch, but looked isolated. Dembélé was absent, and Kvaratskhelia and Doué were tightly marked by Atletico, yet 4 goals still arrived as if it were inevitable. Vitinha, Fabian Ruiz, and Neves, 3 names who turned the Rose Bowl into their personal stage. Fabian Ruiz, the player who started the scoring feast with a clinical shot in the 19th minute, was just a small part of how PSG dismantled Atletico's system. The man of the match, Vitinha, was the true heart of this machine. 1 goal to double the lead before halftime, but more importantly, 112 passes, 97% accuracy, 125 touches. Vitinha alone played as if Simeone needed 3 midfielders just to track him. The 75% possession stat speaks for itself. The Hater Central's statistics succinctly described it. Atletico Madrid today, 0 goals, 4 conceded, 26% possession, 1 clear chance. The 4-0 victory over Atletico wasn't a replica of the 5-0 win over Inter, but a more refined version. This time, Enrique didn't need a red-hot attack. He placed his full trust in the midfield. Vitinha and Ruiz created space. Neves cleaned up and covered. As a result, Atletico could barely string together 5 consecutive passes when crossing the halfway line. The key point is that PSG also exhausted their opponents mentally. Looking deeper, this is the most fearsome PSG, a Paris Saint-Germain that doesn't need to rely on individual star brilliance. A Paris Saint-Germain ready to turn midfielders into sledgehammers, smashing through any defensive system. Luis Enrique boldly declared, "We are the #1 candidate to win this tournament." Just minutes later, Captain Marquinhos added in a humble yet impactful tone, "Even though we are European champions, we still maintain our hunger. We continue to work with humility." That is the biggest difference PSG is projecting. On the other side of the pitch, Diego Simeone had every reason to be furious. He walked into the press conference with his familiar rigid face, shaking his head and uttering the familiar phrase people have heard for the past 10 years. When the score was 2-0, VAR called the referee right when we scored. The referee had previously allowed the game to continue. Every detail was so clear. They disallowed our goal and then sent Lenglet off. I'm tired of talking about referees because if I do, I'm accused of playing the victim. But the numbers reveal an even more staggering disparity than Simeone's words. PSG controlled 75% of possession, made over 800 passes, holding the ball like steel armor around Atletico's midfield. Throughout the match, they allowed their opponents only 5 shots, with just 1 on target. A legendary defensive wall built by Simeone for a decade crumbled like dust under the passes of Vitinha, Ruiz, and Neves. Vitinha once again proved why he was chosen as the man of the match. The image of him holding up the MVP trophy with an almost perfect midfield rating is the clearest proof. But behind it all, what makes Luis Enrique's PSG dangerous isn't just the 4 goals or the dominant possession statistics. They are playing with the mindset of true conquerors. They are turning the Club World Cup, a tournament usually just a showcase for the European champions, into a stage to affirm their ambition for global power. Inter Milan torn apart, Atletico Madrid shattered before PSG's eyes. What about Palmeiras? What about the South American representatives hungry to overthrow Europe? But when the most lauded defensive walls have been mercilessly broken down, the only question left for the rest of this Club World Cup is, who can stop PSG in the next 7 matches? At the Rose Bowl, PSG didn't just win. They sent a message. Paris Saint-Germain is no longer merely a contender. They are the new symbol of tactical power, of a type of football that leaves opponents with nothing to cling to amidst a rising tide of control every minute. If there's any team that deserves to stand on the highest podium at the Club World Cup, not just for the title but for their stature and how they conquered it, it's Luis Enrique's PSG. And if the rest of the football world still dreams of an upset, perhaps it's time they answered the final question: who can stop this machine?